313 days, that's how long Vision Strikers went without losing a single match of Valorant, pulling off one of the most unlikely and greatest unbeaten runs in the history of all esports.
A side assembled from the ashes of Korean CSGO team MVP PK, fresh on the Valorant hype train, dismantled every team before them for almost an entire year, winning 102 games on the bounce, with 2 draws their only blemishes. Over the course of their record-setting 313-day, 104-game unbeaten streak, Vision Strikers bagged 20 tournament victories, a record in of itself, including First Strike Korea and the all-important Korean VCT Masters. Precise, calculated plays and a phenomenal ability to adapt under pressure allowed Vision Strikers' star players to truly shine, with the likes of talented fragger RB able to carry his team to victory off the back of the more thankless work put in by his teammates. With a stellar roster working perfectly in sync and the Korean Valorant scene struggling to adjust to their new overlord's dominance, Vision Strikers showed no mercy. One of the keys to Vision Strikers' unbelievable success was that they played the spike far better than almost any team on the planet during their streak, excelling at knowing exactly when to push the site, when to get the spike down, and when it was time to clean up once their enemies caught wind that the plant had gone off. King and Zest in particular performed miracles with their careful and considered approach plays, meaning that absolutely no other side could match their ability to intel gather on their opponents and execute round-winning plays with such efficiency. Thanks to the extensive experience and outstanding leadership of in-game shot caller Glow, the raw youthful talent in the side was tempered into a merciless winning machine. Stax excelled in the initiator role, winning fights on his own at times, while King and Zest kept a watchful eye for flanks and enemy plays, while RB led the way as an entry fragger, scoring a ridiculous number of first kills, immediately putting his team on the front foot no matter what the opposition had planned. Teams would struggle to even get a foothold in the game as they were completely overwhelmed by the Vision Strikers hurricane. Over the course of their streak, Strikers clean swept their opponents more times than not, especially in the early days. Korean rivals UNBEATABLE, the only team to even get close to beating the Unbeatable, barely standing their ground in a close 3-2 series loss in the VCT Korean Masters Grand Final. Vision Strikers' record was truly flawless. Best headshot percentage, highest map win percentage, best kill death ratios, no stat was left unturned in their pursuit of a perfect run, setting record after record after record until none were left standing. Such was their overwhelming power that Vision Strikers now hold the record for the longest unbeaten streak in the history of professional esports. Not just Valorant, esports, period. But sadly, all good things must come to an end. And so it was that Vision Strikers' formidable 5-stack finally fell to defeat. Their vanquishers, F4Q, ending a run of truly legendary proportions that will live long in the memory of Valorant fans and esports stat hounds alike. But the worst was yet to come for Vision Strikers as, much like buses, 2 losses turned up pretty much at exactly the same time. Rocked by their F4Q defeat, they fell to a clean sweep by perpetual pain in Strikers' backside, U-turn. By their own lofty standards, Vision Strikers were hemorrhaging losses, unable to cope with the teams who had done their homework and worked out exactly what they needed to do to exploit their admittedly small number of weaknesses. Other teams had just finally got into Vision Strikers' heads, predicting their strategies and shutting down their carries right when their team needed them most. F4Q finally shut them down on their home turf of Haven, keeping the entire Vision Strikers team locked down, bar RB, who tried his best with an exceptional jet performance, but it wasn't enough. And even when they got their chance at redemption against U-turn, a -47 kill death differential tells you everything you need to know about the impact of defeat on this team. Out of ideas and out of chances, the Strikers were forced to watch as their closest rivals rose to the occasion on the big stage, and U-turn bagged 3rd place at the first international Valorant event ever in Reykjavik. Honestly, Vision Strikers had fallen victim to their own success, their time in the spotlight giving other teams the chance to learn, adapt, and strategize their downfall. But failing to qualify for Masters Stage 2 in Iceland bought them something they hadn't really had since Valorant's pro scene kicked off: time. Since that fateful second loss, the Strikers have tasted defeat only once, against VCT Masters 3 champions and possibly the best team in the world right now, Gambit Esports, putting together an unbeaten run of 12 games in the process. It's an encouraging sign of recovery after those back-to-back sucker punches, but if you haven't caught on already, it's easy to see why Vision Strikers' 104-game unbeaten streak is unlikely to ever be toppled. Take Sentinels, easily North America's top Valorant side, and boasting a roster featuring possibly one of the best to ever play the game, game in tens, and even their best win streak doesn't come close, at a paltry run of 18 games unbeaten. Or Europe's Team Heretics, admittedly a shell of their former selves, but in the first strike phase of Valorant's esports odyssey, they were one of Europe's GOATs, and even they couldn't do better, coming in with a 24-game win streak. The truth is, Vision Strikers weren't just fantastically talented, they also had lady luck on their side. With international tournaments now finally back on the agenda, more teams than ever vying for the top spots, a professional player base that is sending the game's skill ceiling to the moon, and millions of eager esports fans chomping at the bit to watch the best players in action, the chances of putting together a run spanning multiple tournaments, across multiple continents, against the best teams in the world, hopefully in arenas filled with screaming fans, yeah, good luck with that.
No professional esports team has ever come close to the level of domination that Vision Strikers enjoyed in those early days of Valorant esports. And if the stats are to be believed, it's incredibly unlikely that they ever will again.